BruCast is back, baby.
This BruCast episode is brought to you by the BruCast Store. Explore a store filled with awesome goodies from hoodies to t-shirts to mugs. We've got you covered. Stay in style with BruCast. Embrace the shock, set the trend. Visit now bru-cast.com/store. Link below. Alright, hi everyone, welcome back to another BruCast episode. If it's your first time in watching the show, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please ring the show 5 stars. This will ensure that the podcast is recommended to even more people and allow me to keep doing what I love. BruCast is also on Instagram, X, and TikTok, where we upload shorts with the highlights of the show. So follow now, BruCast on Instagram, X, and TikTok. Links on the description below. Our guest today is Jimmy Spikes. How are you doing, Jimmy?
Pretty good. Yourself? Glad to be here.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you here. So I was very interested in your profile because you mentioned that you have a company. You founded a company. It's called bETERNAL. Am I right?
Yes, bETERNAL.
bETERNAL. All right. Could you maybe explain to our audience what it is about?
bETERNAL is a memory and data preservation platform that is set up for you to store and distribute all the media and data that you've acquired in your lifetime, considering everything we do these days is recorded digitally. And you save it regardless of whether you want to or not, so why not pass it down to the people that can use it the most, and that would be your future.
All right. So the first impression that I get, so we're talking about personal data, like your hard drives or pictures. That's what we're talking about?
Data as far as pictures, videos, movies, financial data. If you have something that you're working on that you want to make sure that's safe, and if something happens to you, it gets passed to somebody that could complete it. Important records like that you want somebody to have access to, because a lot of times you store things in storage files that nobody has access to. So when something's safe, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's safe.
Got it. So what would be the difference? So imagine I pass away. I hope this doesn't happen anytime soon, but I have a bank account. Is, for example, my bank account or the information to access my bank account would be something that will be included in a bETERNAL package.
If you choose to leave it there and assign it to an individual.
I see. Okay. Interesting. My question would be, as far as I understand, you can just do that with a will, right? If you write a will before passing, you can easily just write it, I want my son, for example, to have access to my bank, and then the bank will see that's official will and allow him to access the funds. So how different would be a will from bETERNAL?
Well, we're not really focused on the logistics of the financials and things like that. It's more of the stuff that you save data as far as your digital memories and access to things like that. You know, realistically, you're going to want to keep most of your financial stuff in place with a financial advisor and estate planner for the legality aspect of it. Now, that being said, we can help guide people. Hey, this is where you need to go to find and talk to these people. This is where you need to go and find and talk to this. But at the end of the day, my plan for bETERNAL was for you to make and record private messages for your loved ones in the event that you pass away, or the inevitable happens that you pass away, that they can carry on your legacy for generations to come.
Okay, so when you say messages, like we're talking about text messages, will be they will be then able to communicate back and forth with your digital version of you? That's what you mean?
Well, you could record a message and tell somebody how your day went, how you resolved something. You know, realistically, if you wanted to, just wake up every day and tell somebody that you love them. Because in reality, especially in a world like today, unfortunately, you don't know when if tomorrow's going to come. And if you walked outside today and something happened to you, your loved ones will always be questioning what would happen. But this is a way for you to reassure them that everything's okay and that you love them and that you're proud of them and all that sort of stuff.
Got it. So it's like an ongoing service. After death, it's like an ongoing service. So the person, the loved one, will keep getting certain pre-recorded messages. If that's the case, the first question is that the case, and for how long would those messages be sent to the loved one?
Well, what'll happen is in the event that something happens, you'll receive a message from bETERNAL indicating that the individual who had the files and is sending them to you is no longer with you. And there's a series of events that has to transpire in order for that to happen through our distribution system. But then that will give you access to their bETERNAL account where you can look and manage, and you can upload their files and all the information they sent to them, or for a fee, you can save them with bETERNAL and keep them there. That way you don't have to deal with them. Because sometimes when you go to upload large quantities of videos and things like that, the logistics of it are astronomical. But if you save, like, say, everything on a Google Drive or something like that, realistically, if you change your password and you have your password and your family member has it, but you change it, and so they're not going to get all that information that you've saved. Realistically, what's the point in using and saving all of this information if you can't pass it down?
I see. Okay, so in some sort, you're also compiling all those different informations that normally would be scattered around. Okay, okay. Um, I'm sure. I'm not sure if you get it completely. The big picture is like some type of avatar or persona or intelligent AI, artificial intelligence involved in this process.
Not at this point.
Not at
No, that's something that I've talked to some other people about integrating AI into it at a later date. When holographic technology gets to a point to where it would be realistic and you could sit there and if you have enough information about somebody, enough knowledge, then realistically you could have a conversation with them. But until that day comes and AI is a little bit more advanced, and like I said, it would be neat to, if you've ever seen the movie Superman, when he puts the little crystal thing in that thing and his dad pops up and he talks to him, that was kind of one of the things I envisioned for the future of bETERNAL, where it could have a holographic message set up where you could sit there and have an in-depth conversation with the person that's gone, if enough information's implanted.
I see. Okay, so that's the like, let's say, the ultimate goal, to have this holographic avatar of the person who passed. Man, that's amazing. Have you watched this movie? How it's called again? With Johnny Depp. I think it's called Transcendence. Transcendence.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the whole plot of the movie is something along those lines. He likes trying to save or download or upload in that sense, like his brain, he all of him, into a machine, and he becomes like this artificial intelligent, sorry, AI, artificial intelligence, who eventually is way more intelligent than the original one. Of course, it's a movie, it's Hollywood, and then stuff happens, he goes evil. But it's a very, very interesting idea.
Well, another reason I really am surprised and excited about it is that, today with all the information and knowledge that we can acquire at any given moment, when you're gone, all of that wealth of knowledge that you've obtained is not necessarily saved anywhere. back in the day, and I don't know, I'm almost 50. We used to write everything down, and people would pass down recipe books. They would pass down diaries. They would pass down logs of their life. Nowadays, for the most part, nobody records anything from lessons they learned to cheat codes to video games to recipes to whatever. And so when you're gone, your future basically has to just YouTube how to live their life when you have all the answers that will help them in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Imagine, let's just imagine that this technology existed when Albert Einstein was alive, or I don't know, Steve Jobs, and we could just carry on their legacy. We could still interact with them and ask what they think about certain things. Like, this will revolutionize our entire society. Basically, everyone is immortal or eternal, or as you mentioned, like as you named your company, bETERNAL. It's it's a very interesting goal.
Well, and with the advent of cell phones and instant, when how many good ideas do you get during the day, and you're like, man, that's a good idea. I need to remember that.
Yeah.
And then somebody cut you off and you forget it, or oh, I got to go to the store. You forget it. You can record these things and save them on your phone now, but there again, if something happens, they're gone. Paternal is set up for you to put ideas out there, no matter how. I mean, you brought up Albert Einstein. What if there was a way to record everything that man thought of? Where would we be as a society these days technologically? If we would have had every idea that he had, and he didn't have to write it all down, he could just brainstorm.
Yeah, it would be amazing. At this point in time, so this podcast is being recorded on May 2024. At what stage of development bETERNAL finds itself? It's an app? It's a website? How can we interact with the product?
Right now, finishing up the web, and it will be an interactive website where you can access it through your phone. It won't go live on apps until we're 100% through testing on the site and go from there. But it will be accessible, and we're building for the finalization, building a new product to be on the site that I'm not to speak of, but it's going to be a pretty big deal that'll add to value. But it'll be a live website starting at the end of the month. And before I forget, I want to offer your listeners a promo code, BruCast, for 3 months free of bETERNAL to try it out and see what they think. And I'll remind them of that at the end of the meeting too.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. That's amazing, Jimmy. We can also leave it on the description below if you prefer.
That would be
All right. I also wanted to ask you, um, because that's something that I question a lot. What is the definition of consciousness and identity? So my question to you, Jimmy, would be, how do you define that? And is bETERNAL trying to carry on your consciousness or your identity forward?
Well, I think everybody has their choice and identity. And to me, it would be really helpful and beneficial to know why I think the way that I think, because a lot of it's influenced on the people that came before me. So it is determined on certain factors. But at the same time, I do know a lot of people who like to carry on family traditions. They have certain ideological ways that they think, whether it be in religion or anything like that, that they wish to pass down. Whether their kids accept it or not, or your family accept it or your friends, that's fine. But I defined a level of consciousness as you're really aware of your certain surroundings. To me, if I'm conscious about what I'm doing right now, that I should be able to keep going? I mean, I don't. It's a really complicated question, just to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the term like consciousness is, as far as I understand, is not completely defined. Because if you look at plants, for example, they communicate between themselves through the roots. Do they have consciousness? We don't know, you know? And the fact that today we have people like you thinking about preserving your consciousness or your identity, we don't know, digitally for future generations, like I think this raises a lot of additional questions, like when does a robot start to, okay, I watch a lot of Black Mirror, by the way. I don't know if you're familiar with the show, but they tackle this question as well, right? I think in one of the episodes they upload the consciousness of a little girl into a robot, and the robot thinks she is the little girl. So what do you think about those things?
Well, AI can be a scary subject, and it can be a scary subject to a lot of people because it's only as good as the input that's allowed to be inputted into it. So, one thing about bETERNAL when it comes to a certain point is I would hope that the people would allow their consciousness or their memories to be uploaded to the web or to an AI program combined whole, and that would help artificial intelligence. Because right now, I think, in my opinion, of artificial intelligence, is it's only as good as yes. If you think that the color of my shirt is blue, but I'm colorblind, so I think it's brown or whatever dark color it might be. You're right, I'm wrong. So you tell your friend, well, the color's blue. Well, that's 2 against 1. If that gets entered into artificial AI, then you're right, no matter what. So whoever answers yes the most times will win in artificial intelligence. That doesn't make the answer right. And that's the scariest thing about it. Google, if you Google search something, it'll pull up on the thing the most searched and the most, well, it could even be the most paid aspect of how that person got there. If you do a little bit research, you might find the answer on page 3. But with AI, it's going to go to the one with the most clicks. It doesn't know if those clicks are bots, people paying to be there, or anything else. So it can manipulate your ideas because it only has really one big input, and that's itself and the other computers that are contributing to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Everything that the AI spits out uh, originally was something that someone fed into the AI. So it's not like it's magical or has free will. Whoever trains the AI will produce, like, will result in certain results, you know. So that's something that I learned yesterday. Actually, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was certain, Jimmy, I was certain that AI was kind of magic and it scanned the whole internet for answers, but no, like there's like amounts, like huge amounts of data centers, like ChatGPT, for example. They have so many data centers just storing all the information, like the encyclopedias and books that people at some point fed into the system, and I had no idea about it.
Well, and it's like I said, the one thing that's kind of scary about the whole thing, and that's why I think bETERNAL would be really important, is because I'm going to get my life story added to that factor. You're going to add your life story and experiences into that factor. We might not both agree that that right turn before you go to your grandma's house is the right way to get there. It gives you an option. It makes AI actually do its job and really think about things because it's coming from a different perspective. And the more perspectives that it has to go based off of experience, the better it'll work in reality.
Mm-hmm. While you're talking, I just had this thought. Like, what are books? Books are nothing more that ideas that people had in the past, and they note it down, like science books, stuff like that. Imagine how cool it would be in a few years from now to have, like, you mentioned the hologram. We could have the person itself telling their ideas to you, and you could question the person and interact with the person. Like, I don't want to say books will be obsolete, but I kind of feel we're going more and more in this direction. And if you look nowadays, how many kids nowadays actually read books? Not a lot. Most of them are on YouTube. If they need to learn something, where do they go? They turn to the technology.
Well, and that's 100% true. Books these days are more of a novelty than anything. It's like, look at this book I got. And some people are like, wow. But, to that same thing, the one thing, and YouTube is a fantastic source for information. But just like I've said before, I've gone through 1,000 videos to find the right answer. So my experience with that would save, say, my child a lot of headache if he was like, okay, I want to change this on this. How do I do it? Well, hi, this is your dad. You need to go to this and this, or I just save the video and attach it to my bETERNAL file, and it's right there for him to look for.
Wow. That's something that I say a lot, but I can't wait to live in the future. That sounds amazing. Um, so it's still work in progress, right? Or when do you have like a certain date when I can just go to the bETERNAL site and upload my stuff and start using it? Like
We should be launching at the end of this month.
this month.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
According to my developer. So we should be hopefully this week start really getting back into testing and things like that. But according to him, it'll be the end of this month.
I can't wait. How much it will cost?
Well, for 1 terabyte, it'll be $10 a month, and then for 2 terabytes, it'll be $15 a month. Now, to start, we'll just have individual plans, and then in a little while, probably when the app launches, we'll have family plans where it'll be shared usage in between, and then it'll go past 2 terabytes. These notices on my phone, and it makes me mad. One of them was for 200 gigabytes. I paid $3 a month. Now it's telling me that I need a terabyte in order to save my pictures, or it's just going to delete them. Regardless of what I think, it's just going to delete them. And I don't want to save them with their service because it doesn't help me. So if you're wanting to keep your life history and kids these days start having phones probably a lot, well, younger than they should. This is a place for them to actually record their life from that point and save all their information up until they pass away. I mean, how cool. I mean, I lived in an era where I'm glad we didn't have cell phones because we did a lot of silly stuff and it wasn't recorded. And man, if my mom could see, I'd be in trouble. But you still make mistakes, and you could still pass that on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's not just mistakes. Look at the way, when I tell somebody, hey, I did type on a typewriter in high school. Some people these days don't even know what a typewriter is.
Which is crazy, yeah. Yeah. What did I see again? I was watching on YouTube the other day. There's a channel who gives like kind of current or kind of old technologies to kids nowadays. I think I remember now. It was a phone, like a landline phone that you have at home. They didn't know how to use because they're so used to the touch screen. It's crazy. So Jimmy, when you say that kids could start recording all of their experience for future use, do you imagine like limits in mind? Because what I mean by that limits, because there's a lot of stuff in life I'm gonna be clear. Sex, for example, you're having sex. I'm not talking about the kids anymore. I'm talking about like later in life you start having sex and such. Like those are very private stuff. So do you see limits to what Paternal could and could not record?
Realistically, what you record is up to you. It's the same logistics as an email.
Okay.
If I send you an email, I'm responsible for what's on that email. You're not. Now, if it's something like, say, pornography or something like that, that can get you in trouble. And we're in the same category as email distribution as far as things like that. So, are you going to be able to stop people making bad decisions? No. I mean, I would rather tell them this is up to you and this, that, and the other than to try to figure out a way to make them stop. Unfortunately, because you can't stop them from doing those things. But if there will probably be setups into individual aspects that will, once we get to the children aspect of it, where the parental rights will come into effect, we're going to be able to access your account to see your files and this, that, and the other, to make sure that not just that they're safe, but they're not making life-changing decisions that can ruin their future.
Got it. And I'm 100% more relieved right now. Thank you very much. Because before I was under the impression that everything should be recorded. But no, we do have limits. Children should be cautious of. It's like, as you mentioned, you're in the email category. So basically, you are in control of the things that you want to be recorded and transmitted to future generations.
Yeah, and they're not something where you're going to be sitting there going, okay, I'm going to record this. There will be a scheduled media aspect because, like, for instance, I'm bad with dates. So I can make everybody that I know happy birthday messages in one day, assign it to their birthday, and then go about the rest of my year. And then on those days, it will distribute that information. So in the effect that there again, something happens to me, they're going to get a message when I'm gone saying, happy birthday, I love you, I'm proud of you, da 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 da.
Got it. And this would be like a text message, basically.
No, this will be a computerized, this will be just like me talking to you. I'll leave a personal video message.
Wow.
And that's what all of this is. It's me sitting in front of my camera telling you how I feel about you, how I made it through the day, what I accomplished. Hey, by the way, I found out the cure for cancer. If you do this, that, and the other, here's the answer to this. When you're cooking brownies, do it at this. However you, I mean, this is your digital diary of your life. It's the way I like to look at it.
That's wonderful. I need to ask, have you considered about possible misuse of this technology? And when I'm asking this question, I'm thinking about the government. Because nowadays, in some cases, the government, they do everything they have in their power to have access to phones and cameras. I mean, as far as I know, they do. They already do it without our consent. Do you think about that?
As much as you can. I mean, like you said, you just admitted it. I mean, are we private, 100% private? Not necessarily. But at the same time, everything that you put on bETERNAL is not public. There's not a public. The only way anything on bETERNAL is public is if you make it public. If I record my entire life and everything that I need to and never distribute it past bETERNAL, the only time it leaves bETERNAL is when it goes to you, when I'm gone. Or for some reason, if I'm like, okay, I'm sending this off, I can send it then. But it's a private file. So does the government have access to it? To be naive enough to say no and stop them, and we're bigger than, well, from here, Uncle Sam, we're going to stop him. No, you can pray, and you can have all the technological hacker proof, all of this stuff. If they want in on it and to, quote, spy on you, they will. But realistically, what do you want? What are you looking for in your pictures? You know, what are you looking for in your private videos? You're going to go through all of those files to find what? I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to be, and that's one thing that we're working with is cybersecurity experts that are to ensure that we have the top tier security for this. Because to me, when my mom died, the only thing I have left of my mom when she passed away was this picture right here. And I don't know if you can see it or not. But
It's a
that
little
was
bit
the only
bright. Yeah.
thing. That's the only thing I had left on my phone. Everything else is gone. And that's where the idea, to me, if I had that information, it's more valuable to me than any amount of money, any amount of anything, because it's gone. There's nothing I can do about it. And I want to make sure that that's protected 100%.
I understand. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your mom. And I would like to ask you, is the passing of your mom that gave you the idea to start working on bETERNAL?
100%.
100%.
I
Okay.
was sitting on the beach one day, and this was right around COVID during the pandemic, and it was on lockdown, and I was just having a moment, and I was like, well, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life. Do I want to be here? Do I want to be this? And I was like, I was looking for some advice, some motivation, some something, and she was always really good at it. So I opened my phone and I started scrolling, and that was the only picture or video I had of my mother saved on my phone. When she passed away, anything that she had saved somewhere, we didn't have access to. We lost access to all our pictures on our phone and on our computer. All social media that you assign to social media is not yours, it's theirs. So when you upload it to Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or any of the other ones, they own the rights to it. You no longer do unless you save a copy for yourself. And a lot of people don't know that. They do a photo dump on Facebook to clear storage for their phone, but then 2 days down the road, they say something to somebody, they get reported, they lose their account, they lose all their information like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it happens.
Oh, it does. It does. Yeah, it's like the terms and conditions, right? No one reads them. You just sign all your rights away, and they get all your pictures.
Yeah.
Some people should do that, not on Facebook, but on their phones. They have their pictures saved locally on their phones. No iCloud, no cloud service active. One day their phone breaks, or they just drop it in the ocean. They're like boat trip or something. Everything's gone forever. So paternal would be a good countermeasure for this. Oh, countermeasure, just a good measure for yeah. All right.
Well, and it's an easy way for you to go back and look at your stuff, the way it's set up. It's not hard to use. My goal was, when I set it up with my mom in mind, was to have it for accessible and usable for older generations. It's not going to be real techy. It's not going to be this and that. It's going to have, all of this stuff. Because realistically, the only important part of it is what you contribute to it. I don't need it to blow up and have fancy stuff everywhere. I just need you to download and make messages for your future.
Got it. Got it. Well, but I mean, well, like a nice UI comes a long way on selling a product. The reason I'm telling you that's because I work as a game. Besides the podcast, I also develop games, and I spent many years just doing UI, and it plays a huge role, Jimmy, on the way you interact with the thing. I understand you want to make it simple, but if I have any advice, try to make it simple and appealing and
Oh,
very polished, because that's like the main way that we interact with the software is the UI. It's called user interface for a reason, right? So the more polished, the better, in my opinion. Not biased
no,
at all. Of course,
no,
it's biased, but yeah.
yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I've seen some sites and even some people that are kind of in the competition with what I'm doing. I jumped on there and I'm like, why did y'all jump the gun? You just threw this, and Bubble is a neat thing, but Bubble is not a good answer to a product. It's a good answer for an MVP, but it's not a good answer for a product.
Got it. So is there a competition for bETERNAL?
As of today, there's not any direct competition. All of them are post-death. It's like you can start a file and people, you can invite people and they'll upload pictures of it. And then there's one that actually, like, say my mom died, so I'd start telling my mom's story about all these things that I know that she did. And so it's all post-death. Paternal's not about you dying, it's about your life. It's about your experiences every day of your life. I mean, we stay glued to these things regardless of what you think. So why not leave something memorable, important, and useful every day? I mean, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, what's your background, Jimmy?
Uh, well, just a country boy from Arkansas, just to be honest with you. I was in I was a Navy vet, and then past there, just random jobs here and there, personal training, college. Right now, I'm a contract government entity. I probably can't say. I mean, it's not like it's some kind of special thing. It's helping people with the government programs. Just average, everyday, mill, run of the hill guy.
Mm-hmm. And how much of your time per week do you work on bETERNAL?
Right now,
Yeah,
probably around 20 hours.
20 hours per week. That's a
Mhm.
lot. That's a lot for someone who
Well,
also. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
for that, and my developers, that's where we're at with it right now. So it's basically him going over things, sending me this, me looking at this, approve, disapprove, and all that, because we're getting to the final stages. So to me, that's where I'm standing. I mean, I'm not doing a lot of real on the ground work, but my approval, disapprovals have to be met fast.
Got it. So I see that you guys are present on Instagram. I'm actually looking for the website. So bETERNAL
Not live.
dot live.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Life, Life.
Okay. Live.
And this will be our landing page.
Okay, I'm gonna share the screen with the audience right now. 1 second. So here we are at the homepage of bETERNAL. So bETERNAL.live. Keep your legacy alive forever. Your memories, experience, and accomplishments deserved to be shared with your future generation. All right, and here we can see you can get early access, which will be the public access will happen at the end of the month, where a legacy meets future, empower your future. Man, that sounds exciting. Not only what we're gonna get at the end of this month, but what we're gonna get down the line 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. As I mentioned, like a really huge sci-fi fan, and when you mentioned like the prospect of having the hologram in front of you and you can interact with, like, that's the first step, man.
Well, having the information to interact to enter into that is really the most important thing. And every day we lose just mounds of data and information and people in general because, like I said, nobody records things in a safe, secure environment to pass on. You save everything that you save right now, you're saving for yourself.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when you're gone, unless you give everybody your passwords, your updated passwords, your everything else, God forbid you change it, it's gone. I mean, you're going to fight tooth and nail trying to get that stuff, and they're probably not going to give it to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a right amount of stuff that should be recorded, or the more the better?
I mean, if you're talking about entering it into AI or to build graphics and to do that, the more information that you have is valuable. You know, hey, I like brown. Hey, I like brown and orange. Hey, I like this color. Hey, I like that. Hey, I like turning right versus turning left. I like this color on my hair. I like these things. You know, the more information you could build into it, the more it could be interactable with, you know. What kind of food do you like? Why do you like that kind of food? You know, how do you cook this? How did you change your oil? How did you, you know, realistically, you could record your birth, and it's accessible these days. You could birth till the day you die.
Mm-hmm.
Could be legitimately recorded these days. It would be a lot, but it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Where back in the day, people just had to write diaries.
Mm-hmm. The reason why I'm asking this regarding the amount is because right now I already have so many pictures, so many pictures. As you mentioned, I'm mostly recording them for me. I have them saved in my hard drive. I don't know, 2 terabytes of pictures since I was a kid. And in today's world, where we still don't have bETERNAL with AI, I just think it's overwhelming, the amount of pictures that I have. I don't go through them. Rarely I go, but only when I'm looking for something specifically. Otherwise, it's just there, you know. So I'm not saying that I have a solution, but for today's problem, at least I don't have a solution for my own pictures and my own data. But I can totally understand that in the future, when we have the AI, the better, for sure. Yeah.
Well, and you know, like you said, you know, I've got a hard drive with 10 terabytes that I had for when I was recording GoPro footage and stuff like that, and I just bought it. It was cheap, and you know, if I get hit by a hurricane, that's gone. I mean, unless I remember to stop my life and to go put that somewhere where it's not going to get wet, you know, all of that information is gone. But it's like you said, there will be a, you know, especially starting off new, if you have a ton of information, at least getting it transferred will be one part. But then realistically sitting down and going, okay, I want to assign these pictures to Sally and Johnny. And there you go. Or I'm going to upload everything and then to everybody in my whole group. Everybody, my whole thing gets every picture I've got. There you go. It's as personal as you want to make it.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Imagine you want to teach your kids or anyone anything down the line, and you just record it right now and they receive it later. But I need to be honest with you. For me, the biggest selling point, or I mean, the selling point is obvious, but what really convinced me to use the service is privacy. I know that we mentioned privacy again, but that's something that, at least for me, is like crucial. It would be like the main thing that I would try to understand and look for before signing just a service like that. For example, Apple, I know that Apple, they they try to differentiate themselves a lot, right? And one thing that I noticed that they can actually differentiate a lot is with security and privacy, because of their closed system, the iOS, right? So every new iPhone, they keep hammering this marketing campaign. The iPhone's safe. The iPhone keeps your privacy locally, and like your Face ID, all those, and Touch ID, those are all things managed on the device. So when it comes to me, I'm just talking about me. Privacy would be like the main thing that I would look like in a service like bETERNAL.
Well, and that's the key to it.
Yeah.
That's the whole aspect of it, is it's not social. It will never be social. Because as soon as you give access to one person, then you're liable to that. And bETERNAL's set up for you to record, download, and make private messages, save your data, and these or whatever, and send it to individuals, just like an email. So our privacy will be number one. Privacy and security, for it's like I stressed earlier about the value of knowledge from my mother in general, but not just her, but generations of people that I wish I had. You know, to me is paramount, because at the end of the day, knowledge is the most valuable asset that we have.
Yeah.
And every day nowadays, every day, there's thousands of people that are just going away that have the answer to questions that we need answered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Every day.
For sure. I really hope this business takes off for real. I can totally see a future where everyone's using this, and I look forward to it. And I'm glad that you're working on it, Jimmy. So thank you.
So,
I honestly don't have any more questions. Unless you have any final remarks, Jimmy.
no, I'm good.
Well.
No, I appreciate the opportunity. It's like I said, if you want a link in the bottom, I don't know, you'll probably edit this, so it doesn't matter. Your name of your podcast for 3 months, free usage. And when you go onto the landing page, it'll tell you where did you hear from us? BruCast. That'll get you 3 months free usage of bETERNAL for your audiences.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Jimmy. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. If it's your first time watching the show, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to rank the show 5 stars. This will ensure that the podcast will be recommended to even more people and allow me to keep doing what I love. Check out now the BruCast store, Explorer store, filled with awesome goodies from hoodies to t-shirts to mugs. We've got you covered. Stay in style with BruCast. Embrace the shock, set the trend. Buy now at bru-cast.com/store. I repeat, bru-cast.com/store. Link on the description below. BruCast also on Instagram, X, and TikTok, where we upload shorts with the highlights of the show. So follow now, BruCast on Instagram, X, and TikTok. Links on the description below. All right, thank you very much, everyone. See you next time. Thank you very much, Jimmy. It was really a pleasure, and that's it. All right.